because you're mine. Stop the things you do. I ain't lying. I don't care if you don't want me. I'm yours right
Good morning. That's a cover by Angelina Jordan. And this is the Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth. I'm your host, Amelia Duran. It is April 19th, 2020. And welcome. Welcome to my live podcast. So I'm up this morning and my son has homeschooling now. There's been a dark spell cast across the world by just really horrible people. And when I say dark spell because I've been looking into this, and I'm going to play, my friend Laz, he's often featured on the show, and I'm hoping maybe he'll join me sometime next week. He's a tribal activist, and he always follows the money, and he does an excellent job at that. And he posted a live to my social media wall on Sunday. And so I'm gonna be playing that, but I also want to talk about a little bit. There's been for a while, just some really dark agendas going on within the government in general to micromanage, control the president, control the people, and I quite often I'll talk about, the chemtrails and why they're spraying us, and the spirit cooking and the things they're doing to our food, and the heavy metals that they're putting in our vaccines. All of this contributes to, some of this bioengineering they're doing, but not just that, there's solar engineering as well. And this is something to manage, like terraform the world, the earth, so that I know this sounds crazy, but this is just my opinion and my opinion only, but they have, conjured up these horrible bioorganisms that are programmable flesh. And, in order for them to survive, they need to terraform to some extent. So otherwise they get killed by the sun, the sunlight. And so they spray these chemtrails in the sky that not only have, harmful bioorganisms, but also heavy metals, barium, really horrible things. And I was reading this article that was published in Forbes. Let's see. And I'm going to post a link to it in the comments. But a group of Harvard scientists plan to tackle climate change through geoengineering by blocking out the sun. The concept of artificially reflecting sunlight has been around for decades, yet this will be the first real attempt at controlling the Earth's temperature. Solar engineering. The project is stratospheric. It's controlled perturbation experiment. They will be spending $3 million. And ironically, China has a lot of holdings in Harvard Medical and Harvard Science. And I think Laz is going to touch on that when I play that audio. But the plans are in place and to begin to launch as early as spring 2019. So not only have they been spraying chemtrails on us to pretty much expose us daily to heavy metals so that we will be more sensitive to radiation and radio waves. They're also doing this terraforming, if you will, of the environment so that these weaponized bioorganisms, they can use them. They're programmable. Sorry. I have a lot of problems with my throat. They can use them to control our lifespans, micromanage our lives. And it's really horrifying when you step back and you take a look at the bigger picture of what they're actually doing. And I do think we need to step back and observe, because potentially this is, this is the Darwin Awards. I mean, you can die. And I think that's actually what they want. So they're paying people in the alternative media. They're paying people, in the mainstream media. China now, owns a lot of our mainstream media and a lot of our, people in film as well. They're a lot of the content that we see is, controlled, hyper controlled. So I encourage people to step back and really consider where they're getting their information from. Is it the contrived media that is a lot of the major holdings are in China? Because they're really putting out a lot of disinformation about this bioweapon. And it's really unfortunate because, I know people want to preserve their freedoms, but I don't think, going out in this with what they're doing right now is a good idea because, it is deadly. It's a bioweapon, and where it spreads, it kills, and it spreads very quickly. But, I think we're just about ready to see the full effect in Sweden with Sweden's experiment come full circle. So, yeah, I encourage everybody to sit back and watch what's really going on. But this is the WHO specialist warns European countries. This was published in Time. Let's see what they have to say. Okay, turn this on. Hold on.
Are experiencing a rapid increase in cases or a fresh surge. Now is not the time to relax measures. It is the time to once again double and triple our collective efforts to drive towards suppression with the whole support of the society. I call on all countries, whatever their current status of transmission, to strengthen their activities in 3 areas. As is clear from the data and our current level of knowledge, we still have a long way to go in the marathon. And the progress we have made so far in fighting the virus is extremely fragile. At a minimum, to keep transmission suppressed, we must prioritize maintaining extensive testing, isolation and contact tracing measures and planning these ahead.
That's the WHO. And
The
WHO originally put out a false narrative and I don't really believe that this is even a virus that we're dealing with because it's not behaving like a virus. I'm not a medical professional. It's just my opinion. But Sweden is starting to see the full. Sweden has a relatively high fatality rate as of April 8th due to the COVID-19. So there, it says Norway and Denmark have case fatality rates. Let's see. They're getting up there as of yesterday because I was watching Sweden because they were doing a experiment and they weren't shutting down their economy. And so I think we're going to be seeing them next in the media. And, you're gambling with your life. You're gambling with your life right now. I don't think they intentionally, this was planned like some people believe. I do think that they've been researching how to use these bioorganisms to micromanage humanity and our lifespans. However, I don't think they planned the outbreak for 2 reasons. I don't think the outbreak would have occurred in China because they basically shot themselves in the foot in regards to their economy because nobody even wants to, a lot of people are pulling out of China. A lot of countries, India, I think, Japan, but I don't think this was planned like people think, and I think that's why we're seeing. But what they're doing is they're putting plans that they've had in place into full effect, and but I don't think that they had this. There seems to be this behavior, and nobody's really looking at this, but